Okay, so we'll give it just another minute.
Okay, it looks like we're live.
We're live. Welcome, everybody. This is the final day. I think we'll be live again tomorrow, but this is the final day of the June solstice ceremony here with Marshall Golden Eagle Jack, John Burgess, and Queen G herself, Linda Kluge. We're the People's Wave of Love team. And I'll hand it off to Marshall to open us up in prayer for the day.
Yeah, aloha. Again, welcome to another beautiful day on Mother Earth. Well, again, we ask permission to be a part of this day, and so we'll open it up and we'll call in all the holy ones, get them activated around us, and call in our ancestors. So if you're joining us this morning, just try to get in that relaxed state. So take in 3 deep breaths. Kind of let that outside world go out there for a moment as you take in the first deep breath, and just kind of settle your mind down. And the second deep breath is just kind of get your focus on what we're doing at the present time. And then in your third deep breath, just relax and clear your mind. Just feel the energies surrounding you as we call in all the holy ones. So again, this morning I asked permission to speak with the holy ones, Creator, Great Spirit. I ask all of my ancestors to be with me here this morning, both on my mother and my father's side. We call upon the Mother Earth to be a part of my day. We ask that she join me with all of her kingdoms, the water kingdoms, the earth kingdoms, fire kingdoms, air kingdoms, ether kingdom, all the kingdoms. And we ask them to celebrate this day with us. We've gotten through this energy field with the grandfather sun and the grandmother moon. So thank you for coming in and being a part of our day again. Again, we ask a blessing for everybody that's joining us this morning. A blessing for them as individuals and their families, their home, their lands. And, we'll see what the holy ones have to offer us today. Oh, oh. So as I was conversing with the energies this morning, Goldie, she wanted to be out by the altar, so I'm gonna walk out here. This is this will probably be one of the most final offerings of the whole sequence. It's the end of a time zone. Actually, Samoa is the actual end, but they're not far behind us here in Hawaii. But this is our last offering. This is Goldie wanted to kind of share the offerings as we encompass all the water, and so this last container, it holds all of the energy of the full moon ceremony. So we're going to offer that after this broadcast. When my partner Terry comes home, I'll ask her to offer her offerings, her left final offerings, and then I'll offer mine, and then I'll offer the large container. So for right now, I'm going to take Goldie back inside so I don't disturb all of my neighbors here. It's still pretty early here. It's just a little after 7 o'clock. So a lot of people are still sleeping and still enjoying their rest. So here's a kind of, the sun is just coming up. I want to show you that. It's just starting to hit the islands today. So all of our mountains and everything coming alive, and be another beautiful day here on the island. All right, we're going to go inside here a second. Ho, 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 ho. Come on, Goldie. Let's go get set up inside here. Okay. Let me get rearranged here. I think that's going to be good. Let me tilt it just a little bit here. Okay. Let me grab my cup of coffee. We'll be ready to go. So, first of all, I wanted to ask, what did we learn? What did we learn these last 10 days? What came into you that may have enhanced your life or opened you up to different things that you haven't been opened up before? I just want to get some feedback of what happened to you. During what changed in your life this last 10 days. So Rosa, how about filling us in and what happened with you? Or what did you experience?
Yeah, thank you, Marshall. I was actually journaling a little bit this morning, like what have I learned from all of this? So the first thing I wrote down, I have my journal handy, is that it's time to step up to the plate and take some real action. I think I maybe spend a lot of time thinking about the problem and instead of taking real action. So really using my voice, using my authority to speak up for the changes that need to be made and to be a good example just from listening to your talks. When I go on my walks during the day and in the afternoon, I started picking up trash. I really didn't proactively do that before we had the conversation a few days ago about it. So that's a change that I've already made, just being a good example. The other thing I learned is that we're all connected, and and we can connect with all just through our prayers and through our attention and intention. And the third thing I wrote down is I still have a lot of work to do. That's another thing that's always showing up. I've still got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of things to learn, and there's just a lot of work out there to do. So those are the three things I was thinking about earlier today.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I always feel, I'm not sure what the right word is, in reverence, I guess, when we have a lot of people joining together and calling in on the holy ones. For me, it's takes me back to some young memories with the elders, because that's what they would do, and it was very powerful. I can't really explain that energy that comes in. It's I don't know, it's just powerful. And we know that what we're asking for, what we're praying for, especially when we call in the holy ones and all of our ancestors, that those holy realms, they hear us, they acknowledge us, and the only thing we need to do is just ask permission to speak with them, and they're right there. And it's a great feeling to have them with you 24/7. And as you go through this life, and you ask them to guide you, through each and every day, it becomes a very, very beautiful life. And then when Goldie stepped into my life back in 2011, and when she basically said, all we need to do is find a joy in this life. That really changed things around for me. And it's like, Goldie says, find the joy in the struggle, and the struggle will disappear. And literally, it does. It's when all we're looking for is the joy in this life, it's I don't know. For me, it's more fulfilling, I guess. And you're just feeling the energy of the Mother Earth. You love the plants, you love the animals, you love the sky, you love the air, you love the mountains. And that's all we need to do. We don't need to do anything more. Anyway, that's my perspective on things that go on along. So every day, we continue to find the joy. But let's maybe hear some comments from Linda and John. What did you all experience during this 10-day event?
So, it was a mixed bag, I'm going to say. I experienced a lot of frustration. Um, I have a lot of expectations of myself, and so I let myself down by not meeting those expectations that I set up for myself. So I have to start being a little bit kinder and more forgiving of myself. Um, I think that was kind of a common theme throughout the 10 days. Um, and not just within the ceremony itself. Have criticisms on not getting up at sunrise and not, doing a noon offering and not doing a sunset ceremony. Um, Allowing, other day-to-day activities to interfere in what I was doing. Not showing up like I would want to in a perfect world, and still having to just kind of reconcile that that's okay to do that. So I've had a lot of back pain throughout these 10 days, and in a way, going through this whole experience, it's a reflection on what other people are experiencing also. I've talked to lots of people. I'm talking at least more than 10 that have experienced and had back pain also. So maybe like that's a theme out there. I don't know. Um, I know there's a lot of frustration for other people too. So maybe it's just I'm a mirror, and it's being a reflection of what's outside as well as what's inside of me. A lot of my intention and prayers for my offerings have been around the children, the trees, the waters, um, the politicians, all the people that are in office, so that they can do what is in right action for whatever purpose it is that they're at, and to be in integrity in doing so. And a lot of blessings I've put out for the animals, all of the animals that are suffering, um, that are being hunted and killed and poached and abused, experimented on. And then, of course, I also include the people too. I mean, we're animals also, just in case y'all don't know. We're mammals. We nurse our young. Um, so we fall into that category as well, of animals on the planet that need the help and support. A lot of things that have happened, milestone kinds of things, in my family in these past 10 days. I've had a grandson celebrate his 7th birthday. That was on the June solstice, 21st. My granddaughter graduated high school. She had her prom date going on with that. So it's just been really chock full of the energy of not just the planetary and aspects of it, but the energy of the family and the people, coming together and doing things. So it's been frustrating, and at the same time it's been rewarding because I've been able to kind of dig deeper into myself and who I am and what I represent by being alive here on this earth.
That's good. Good experiences. John, what about you? What have you experienced?
Well, can you hear me okay? Everybody hear me okay? Uh, Very interesting. I always start my day with a morning meditation. Anyway, I have for quite a number of years. Um, but also doing the daily ritual with the water blessing, sunrise, and I've missed several noon times. Um, but it's just deepened and enriched my feeling of connectivity. Um, I always appreciate nature. I always appreciate the creatures and all that. But when I'm out there in the morning doing the water blessing, I would see a bird fly by and I hear a morning call, or see a butterfly, and it's, so hey, what's up? Give a morning greeting. So that's been really sweet. So I'm feeling even more connected. And I was already doing the kind of the trash pickup, but Rosa just reminded me that I've deepened that too. And I was just reminded the other day of, it only takes the turn of one thought to open our heart, open our mind, and also to maybe start having a ripple effect with others. And the same thing with our actions. If somebody's walking behind us on a trail and they would just normally kind of walk by a can, and I pick it up, they say, oh, so it goes into their mind, and it starts to build an awareness. Oh, maybe I should do that, because people mirror, they puppet actions that they see in nature. Um, but also, I just wanted to pause a second. I wanted to offer kind of a little support to Linda, about maybe kind of being a little harsher on yourself than really is necessary. There's a I will booger this up. I won't be able to paraphrase this very well, but there's a quote from the ancient Vedas about humanity. And it goes something like this: if all a man does in his life is reach down and pick up a baby bird that fell out of its nest and put it back in the nest, they've done them more than most people do. So we're viewing all of this from our perspective about how we are in the world, but we don't see what the elementals, what the holy ones see. And our intentions, our focus here about trying to create this harmonious wave of intention to create greater world peace and everything like that, it's known, it's felt, it's observed, it's acknowledged that we're being a little more conscious with our activity in the environment. And we may not feel it, but it doesn't mean it's not there. And I think, Linda, all that you do, I mean, you're a super mom, of course. You're multitasking. You're kind of like a Wonder Woman. Um, if I needed to hire somebody to that I knew could multitask, I'd probably hire you instantly, because I knew you would have the ability to manage and co-manage all different kinds of fires and still maintain some degree of humanity in the middle of all of that. And that's actually all we're kind of being maybe asked to do here, is to I go back to that conversation we had about our leadership, our role, our authority, with how we're been given a planet to be stewards of. It's a huge, awesome responsibility. Now, not everybody that we know have done a really good job with that, but if we're the ones trying to tip the scale, everything we do is a blessing. And if we do it with that attitude, we walk into the trees, and before we pick a flower, we ask permission. May I may I honor you and put you in a vase somewhere, you know, that's more than most people do. And that's a ripple effect. It's felt in the environment. I guarantee it's felt. It may not show to us, but it is felt in the environment. And so just a honor and appreciation for you, Linda, and all that you do. It's noticed, definitely, and appreciated. Um, so what else? I've been, being observant of my behavior in the world and more clear about some stuff that I need to kind of polish up on. So I'm still a baby duck. I'm still learning. Um, I was just telling somebody the other night, says the more I've come to discover and learn, I realize I don't really know a lot. And I think I need to stay that way. Because I'm realizing more and more that this life is not necessarily about me, but how I can serve. So that's I think the big thing that I've kind of taken away from this is just a little more alertness to the idea of service in the world. How can I serve? How can I? And I like Marshall's idea about asking the holy ones permission to enter the day. How can I be of service to the planet? What do you need from me today? I mean, I've got my own agenda I've written down here, but is that really what I need to do? We'll find out as the day begins. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
And Marshall, you'll have to unmute yourself because I unmuted you during John's share.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah, it's great. That's great. For me, it's understanding populations. That we all have a different path of life, and like you were mentioning about Linda and many of the women, many of the grandmothers and grandfathers, whatever, they're consistently multitasking to try to keep everything in balance in their own personal lives. And myself, during these past 10 days, I've had several healings that I did, in between, and doing some projects with a grandmother and a grandfather in their home, and continuing to take care of the house here for Terry, and honoring her and respecting her space and stuff. And so there's a lot of multitasking going on every day. There's a lot of insights that we see that need to be taken care of. But for me, it's always it's easier for me to multitask when I have the ancestors and the holy ones surrounding me. And I literally ask them for help. I need help with this, or I need help with that. Or I'll ask the grandmothers, okay, Grandma, what do you want to do? What do we do? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to eat? Just general conversations through the multitasking events. But when we're putting on worldwide ceremonies, it's a collective energy of all of us, each individual's journey here on this planet. And so our eyes, our presence on Earth is that we're witnessing all types of events, all types of circumstances, not only in ourselves, but our family and our home, our lands, whatever. And so each one of us, we're seeing the world in a different way. But, there was one of the videos where we're talking about losing our eyes and looking at this planet through the Creator's eyes. And when we can achieve that, or when we can acknowledge that everything is as perfect as it's ever going to be right this second, because it's taken the Creator, the Holy Ones, and all of our ancestors to put all of this together for us. And sometimes when we see things that maybe we don't like, or we're experience things that we don't like, then all of a sudden that judgment comes in. And it's like what Goldie would mention, in order for us to be happy or be joyful or whatever, we need to lose all of those judgments. And so that's my challenge, I guess it is to try not to form a judgment on anything. And it's difficult sometimes. But again, it's like, okay, so judgment is a red flag for me. If I have a judgment, it's kind of like, whoa, why am I judging it? It's my perspective, not anybody else's, but it's my perspective. And, Linda was mentioning expectations on herself. I try not to do that with anything. I don't expect anything out there. It is what it is. Let the energies flow. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next, but I don't expect anything to happen the way I see it. I just acknowledge it, saying, okay, I'm putting my best effort forward, and we're just going to see what happens. So I'm not sure how many people we had on board with us during this global synchronization, but knowing that every day that we're making our offerings, we're asking permission, calling in all of our ancestors, calling the ancestors of the world, that the Holy Ones are guiding each one of us in whatever circumstance that is, wherever we're living here on the planet. But for me, it's like, okay, we're all focusing in on different situations around the world, and we're offering our best prayers, our best intentions to create a better place, for the unborn. We don't know where we're going to go from here. The Holy Ones show things every day, but they kind of acknowledge that we as people, as humans, we came together during the natural energies of the planet and of the star nations or whatever, the natural energies of the sun, the natural energies of the moon, and we all connected some way, somehow with that as individuals. And our altars, we put together our altars, and we tapped into what we called the crystalline grid. And so we know that we're doing that. And so that we are contributing, right, to the wholeness of the planet. And that's what the Holy Ones are asking us to do, is to really focus in our energies on what needs to be changed here on this earth. What do we see as humans that need to be changed? What are we doing that is compromising our future? And one thing comes to mind is like the Miami Beach catastrophe that just happened. Man-made structures, made by man. We had an incident there in Rose's community in Albuquerque with the hot air balloons. And again, another man-made product. And when it's man-made, we are disappointed when the man-made structures fall apart, because it's man-made. It's almost as though we're more connected with the man-made energies than we are with the natural energies of the Mother Earth. That's just my own perspective on things. But for me, when I look at the Mother Earth and she makes her changes, whether it be volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, whatever it may be, is that she's just like us. She's emitting her energies. She's growing just like we grow. And so that's my reality, is what is the Mother Earth doing? What is it that I can do to maybe compensate some energies for her to to balance herself out. This morning, after the broadcast, sure, I'll go out and make my final offerings for the 10-day event, knowing that all of our energy came together the last 10 days. And I give an offering for all of us and all of our personal journeys out there, our families, our lands. And tomorrow, we're going to do a recap of everything that's gone on. And I'm going to sit with the Holy Ones this evening or this afternoon, whenever it is, whenever I get some time. And Goldie kind of taps me on the shoulder and say, hey, we need to focus in on what's in the future for us. What is it that we're going to be concentrating on next? The obvious ones for me is the moon energies, right? The full moon, the new moon, the quadrants of the moon, all that other stuff. That's just a natural thing that we do every month. I'm looking to the star nations. What are the different alignments that are coming into play in the future? And what can we do to encompass that energy again? And keep this global connection together. And so what I would like to see, this is just my own perceptions, I'd like to see more people come on board with us. The more people there are, the more influence that we have as far as a voice and as far as energy to shift things around. So who knows? Who knows where we're going out here in the future? We'll come together and concentrate with the Holy Ones and ask them for guidance. I just wanted to share that much this morning. And so Rosa, I'm assuming you already made your final offerings, right? So if you did, what did you experience in that final offering?
I did, yeah. I made my final offerings this morning, and my altar was actually kind of tucked away and hidden inside of a raised bed garden that I have outside my front door. I don't really have much of a yard outside. It's really exposed, and I live on kind of a busy street. So I didn't want to put my offering kind of in plain sight, just because people come in and they rummage through my garbage can. So I know if I have an altar outside, they're probably going to rummage through it and see if they can find something they can use. So I wanted to keep it a little hidden. And so I had it kind of underneath the plants in my raised bed garden. And I had the crystals all laid out. So I noticed immediately that my plants are just so much happier having received those offerings. They were really struggling to survive here in the heat and the sun. In Albuquerque, they're exposed. They don't have any shade. So I didn't even know if they'd survive, but seeing them after receiving all these water blessings, they are happy plants. And so that was just another, validation that, this water is medicine for the earth. And literally, it's good medicine for your garden, for your plants, for all your plant allies. So, and I'm assuming that, that it's good medicine for the things that I can't see physically too, for just the space and the grid you were talking about yesterday.
Great. Yeah, the plants love the energy. I give my offerings to our pineapple plants. And all of our plants, I've got a big lemongrass plant and other plants out here. And when I give that blessing water to them, it's almost kind of like they come alive. It's like they become ecstatic, right? They're like energy is coming off of them too. But yeah, for me, it's a beautiful thing. Well, Linda, when you made your final offerings, what did you experience?
As I struggled to unmute. um, well, throughout the entire ceremonies, I have been um, feeding my water to my strawberries, and they are just loving it. And also to some blueberry plants that I just bought this year, and they're doing quite well. Um, I have some other plants that I've been nurturing and giving the water to, and all of them are just so ecstatic. Like you said, you really can see the difference in the plants. Um, and of course, my cat Fred, who loves water. Anytime I'm pouring anything out somewhere, he's hanging out. He wants to get his little bit and share too. So I noticed in this past 10-day period, before this, I had had some issues with him where he wasn't really taking care of himself. He wasn't grooming himself like cats will always do. And since I've been feeding him this water, I have a little cup that I put water into, and he immediately comes out and starts drinking it. He started to pay more attention to doing his grooming. So, yeah, so he's sitting on my lap right now, hanging out with me. Um, yeah, so he's been loving it. Um, I think this would be a great thing to do on just a moon ceremony, monthly moon ceremony kind of a thing to do with the moon altar and water. Um, so I'm looking forward to continuing that.
All right, beautiful. John, how about you? When you made your final offerings, what did you experience?
Well, I kind of like Rosa and Linda. I've got some plants out here that have been really, really thirsty. I don't know how many people know about it, but here in this part of Texas, we had quite a winter storm that came through in February that was very challenging. And our power grid failed, and a lot of us were without electricity, and we had to harvest rainwater and melt snow water for a while. So I had some jasmine plants that the property owner had planted around a trellis area, and they were not doing well after the freeze. But since we started doing these ceremonies, I've been giving them some of that water every day, and I'm seeing new leaves pop out of the ground that I didn't think were going to show up. And it's almost like when I walk out the door, they're like, "We're gonna see out here. You gonna give us some water? We're gonna get our water." Um, so that actually reminded me of something that happened a number of years ago when I was involved in another program where there was a large group of people focused on emotional healing and all this. And I would close my eyes one day and I could feel this tingly, vibrant energy. And I realized what I was feeling. I was feeling the spirit keepers, the land energy celebrating that humans were actually paying attention and realizing that, oh, this is the first time that we've seen humans in our area that actually paid attention to us and are actually working with us in support of our life cycle. And it was like a party. It was an energetic celebration party. So that was really sweet. And when I finally did my last pouring, I felt a little twinge of sadness because I felt so all this time we've been focused on this, and it reminded me of several years ago in some other circles, meditation circles, where we were doing large group practices to influence the collective consciousness, and how sweet that was to have that collective focus on a goal, on an intention. And part of me misses that. There's part of me that wants to, like Linda, I want to continue this collective focus on bringing greater healing, greater harmony. So that's kind of what was rolling through my head this morning.
Yeah, great. Listening to the three of you, acknowledging the plants and, through the water element, that connection right there is that magical connection that stewards the earth. Is that when we're aware and when we're conscious of how sometimes the Mother Earth's energy fields are struggling, it's up to us as humans to steward the planet. And so when we see struggles like that happening and we feed them water or whatever, nutrients or food or whatever, it's as though the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the water kingdom, whatever, is that they acknowledge our presence here as human beings. And so for me, it's like the elders used to say, listen to the Mother Earth. And sometimes you'll hear something struggling out there. It could be a tree. The roots aren't getting enough water or whatever. And being in tune with nature is very fulfilling, because it's like all three of you mentioned, you're seeing changes happen just by pouring some sacred water onto your plants. That's what this is all about, is our relationship with the Mother Earth. How can we nurture the Mother Earth more than we are doing right now globally, and really acknowledging, the Earth is asking us for help. And there was an old saying too, one of the elders, grandfathers, he says, we have millions and millions of people helping millions and millions of people. But who out of those millions are literally helping the Mother Earth? And that's been my perspective, is like, again, we have a lot of humans helping humans, getting more money, getting more this, getting more that, buying this, buying that, whatever. But where's the acknowledgement of where all of these things are coming from? It's the Mother Earth itself. And so for me, it kind of hurts my heart that, growing up in an environment when I was small and watching and listening to the elders literally taking care of the earth. That's the biggest thing that I miss in this life, is watching people taking care of the earth instead of just ignoring it and walking on. That's what really hurts my heart. And so for me, it's like just, continuing to work with the holy ones, work with the Grandmother Earth, grandfather, son, and all the natural elements to really take care of this earth, really take care of Mother Earth. If she needs a drink, if her plants need a drink, give them a drink. Or if an animal needs food, give them some food. And I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing this out here for comment. So Rosa, are there any other coming in from the audience? Have an audience?
There are. I'd love to read some of them. So lots of people just saying hello and good day. And I think in response to what have you learned, Heidi's here, and she said she's learned more love, giving, and receiving as she saw her community rise and feeling their peace and love. Ellen says, each day asking for guidance and assistance from the holy ones and carrying their energy with me consciously. She also mentions reverence and humility and living a sacred life in joy. Siska's here from the Netherlands, and she says she's learned about always asking permission first of the holy ones, as well as asking for more help, not only from the angels, but also from the ancestors. That's sort of I think that's a new learning for a lot of people in the West. Lots of people mentioning Linda, that they found your interactions very helpful. And yeah, don't be hard on yourself. You're very loved, Linda. Siska says she learned a lot about the crystalline grid and that we're all connected by the grid. and that she still has a lot to learn. Me too, Siska. Ellen's just sharing. She loves listening to Marshall and your stories. And there's a couple of stories in here. Sandy had some interactions with some owls around the ceremony. She says the very first morning, as she called in the ancestors, she had an experience with some burrowing owls in their yard. And it looks like, I encourage you guys to read this post. It's a little too much for me to read the whole thing here, but basically she had 3 owls come and join her for her first opening ceremony. Beautiful. Then there's another story, I think from Pamela, about some 7 black crows greeted her yesterday as she went out to make her offering. So I love hearing these stories about how nature is showing up and validating the work that we're doing on the Earth's behalf. Thank you guys for sharing so much. And I encourage you, we have about 10 more minutes left in the broadcast. If you have comments about your experiences or any questions before we close today, please post this in the comments. We'll be sure to look at them.
All right, very good. That's some very positive feedback. Again, we as humans, we have a choice, free will to do with this life whatever we want to do with it. But, the guiding light for me was the mentoring from the elders, is that they showed who we are as human beings. They gave us examples to live by. They gave us knowledge. They gave us wisdom. They gave us options, a lot of options to live by. But it was our free will to choose an option that we resonate with. And for me, it's always been working with the Mother Earth, and working with the plants, working with the animals, working with the cloud nations, working with the fire, working with all of the natural elements. And it was very, very fulfilling. As people journeyed, my counterparts, if you will, or the people around me, they were more enticed by the man-made world. Going out and getting an education, going to college and getting a master's degree in this or that or whatever, and contributing to the man-made world. And I respected that. I honored that. And, I tried my best to try to, what would you call it? Integrate, I guess, in the man-made world so that I can have an existence, amongst, all the humans. And, I had several jobs in this lifetime and, made some money and was able to purchase some things that I needed to live in the human world. But for me, it was all that was superficial. It was like I didn't need any of that. But to be integrated with my surrounding neighbors is I had to amend or change some things in my heart to accommodate this human world. And that's always been a struggle for me, especially the money thing, the money factor. That was an issue right off the bat with me. And all I seen that money did was take away from Mother Earth. I share a lot of stories about how my grandmother introduced me to money. What is money? Just plants and rocks, basically, and berries, whatever. But I pray earnestly that maybe as we come together more often, every day, making our offerings, asking permission to take care of the Mother Earth and calling in all of our ancestors, that maybe in the future we can teach our children, the more basic knowledges of the natural energies of the earth, of who we really are as humans. And I don't know if I'm ever going to see it in my lifetime, but at least we're planting a seed. That's what I'm I'm experiencing is that we're not only planting a seed within ourselves to renew our knowledge or renew our perceptions, but if we can use that new knowledge and those perceptions to teach our younger people, for me, that's a very, very huge enhancement. Because the little guys, they seem to be more in tune with nature than we are as adults. And so when you teach them how to interact, with Mother Earth's world, they seem to get it naturally. It's almost as though, yeah, they know what to do. They just need a little encouragement, a little help and recognition that, yeah, you go out there, build a medicine wheel or build a water wheel or whatever. They already know how to do that. And they know the feeling of why they're doing it. They're doing it to help Mother Earth. So those are my basic thoughts, I guess, is I'm hoping more people will recognize our human authority here on this planet, and then to recognize that within that authority that we can nurture this planet, we can steward the way this planet needs to be. We have that ability. We have that kind of power and consensus when we come together and we make our offerings to better this planet. I feel a great energy that's going through the rippling effect around the world. We ask the sun, the grandfather sun, to carry all of our prayers around and shine it on the planet. We ask the grandmother moon to do the same, to shine all of our prayers around the planet. I know it's going to change something somewhere around the planet. Somebody is going to get a healing or get some insights, and things will change in their life. And we've seen that rippling effect create miracles, and understanding that kind of influence, that kind of power of change, it starts with us right here in our heart. And from our heart, we create an intention. And in the intention, we give it out to the Mother Earth, or through the crystalline grid, or through an altar that enhances our intentions. So I just ask that all of you, remain in a good place, in a joyful place, like Goldie says. Just find the joy in this life and offer the best you have to the Mother Earth. Listen to her. She'll speak with you. Listen to the plants, listen to the animals, and really acknowledge the waters, of how powerful the waters really are that help us in that nurturing atmosphere of the Mother Earth. Just like you guys experience. You kept on putting your water onto the plants, or in Linda's case, giving her cat water. It's like healing water for her cat, and things change. And that's what it's all about the change. And so anyway, I'm gonna kind of hand it back to everybody, and maybe get some final words from all of you. And let's see where we go with it.
Ron, feel free.
Let me get into this technology of unmuting here. So thank you very much, Marshall. As always, many words of inspiration and reminders. And one of the things, there's been a theme that's been running through for the last, minimally the last 10 days, if not longer than that. And that is the idea of forming collective we's. And we've talked about this before, but a lot of us grew up in at least North America with this phrase or this concept of the rugged individual, and that's got its place. But the conditions in the planet right now are so massive, so complex. It's just not possible for one individual to do everything. We can do some things, But when we, like what we've been doing with this, is we created this hopefully worldwide web of connected hearts and minds with the intention of benefiting the planet. So hopefully my prayer is that this doesn't just stop today, but we continue this to build this connection. We all have our family, our friends and all that. But as I continue to do this personal healing and growth process, I realize what my soul heart really wants is to connect and share with other like hearts and minds that are really, really devoted to this process. And in the past we may have thought, well, I got to do it locally. Well, guess what? We've got Zoom. It's not the same as being in person, but still we have a vehicle here. We have a method where we can stay connected. And that's what I would encourage everybody to consider is let's see how we can all support each other to continue these processes, these ideas, and continue to grow this collective we that we've created here and see what our unique little creative minds can generate. What we can, we've done all this blessing of the water. Maybe we could water the fruits of our minds and our hearts to generate some more expressions of different ways we continue this theme of supporting the Earth Mother. So that's my thoughts about that. Let's keep it going. You're muted, Marshall.
I know sometimes Goldie, she tells me, shut up, Marshall. So, Rosa, what are your final thoughts?
I do want to call out Dr. Keith here. He's here and sends his blessings to us. He said his son was impacted by the event, the tragedy in Miami, but was just told that he can return to his hotel and get his items. So blessings to him too. Thank you for being here, Dr. Keith. I think I'm really walking away, Marshall, with Goldie's advice about finding the joy. Every time I find myself kind of closing up, either in frustration or especially in fear, I've been trying to tune in with Goldie and find the joy. Like if I can be joyful, fear can't touch me. So I've been it's a stretch for me, but I've been really trying to lean into that and to lean into the grandmother medicine and the divine. You mentioned the Divine Mother yesterday. That's an archetype that we don't have a lot of exposure to in the West. In India, they have their version of the Divine Mother, and so I've been really trying to tune into her, and that's also a really good antidote to fear. If you can feel Big Mama with you, you don't have anything to be afraid of. She's powerful. So I think that's what I'm sitting with at the moment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Linda, what about you?
What is coming through for me is that I am so supported in so many ways by all of you. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to echo your words, Rosa, and know that any time that you are in a fearful state, singing also helps to erase the fear. It's just something that automatically kind of happens. There's physical things that your body has to do in order to sing that encompasses your mind and your emotions. So it takes you out of that cage that fear puts you into. And wherever there is love, fear can't abide. It's like, you know, a match lit in darkness. It just oil and water. It's just, it can't occupy the same space. So I'm glad you brought that up. And the divine feminine, I'm very much in alignment with. Um, Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. She's like one of my favorites, and I ask for her to come in when I'm asking for the ancestors and setting my intentions. So um, most absolutely, the divine feminine. Yes, that's what's bringing us back into balance, and it's not a something that will bring us back. It's something that is bringing us back. We are bringing ourselves back into balance by doing what we're doing, by gathering together and having a we consciousness. So thank you very much for all of your efforts, everyone out there.
I keep on figuring out this mute button here. Can you hear me? No? Yeah? Rosa, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Everything went silent on my end. I didn't know what was going on. All right. Well, with all of that being said, I know we're coming up on the hour. And we have a future ahead of us. And what are we going to do with it collectively? In order for us to acknowledge the greater changes, that for me, it's as though we have to have one voice, one intention. And I'm hoping that's what we produce through these 10 days, is that each day had its own intention, and we lend our energy to each one of those selective intentions. And I feel that we've made some progress in doing that together. I'm not sure where we're going with all of this energy out here into the future, and so that's what we're going to be collaborating with after today. Like I mentioned a little earlier, I'll sit with the holy ones this evening, and so tomorrow morning is going to be the last of the Monday mornings with myself for a while. I'm going to take a break and probably go up into the mountains and sit with the holy ones and really look into the future. Where are our intentions needed the most here on the planet, Mother Earth? I want to thank all of you for joining us, listening to the stories, listening to the dialogues, listening to the event structures. And, it means a lot to me and a lot to the core here in the People's Wave of Love. We put a lot of work into this in the background. And I just want to acknowledge the crew, the staff that put all of this together for us, with Rosa and Jigna and John and Linda. And there was a lot of work in the background. It takes a lot to put these interests together. We finally, in the midst of all of this, we finally achieved a goal of ours, is that was to create a 501c Native American nonprofit. We did that during this segment. And so with a nonprofit established, and it's our own. And so we are kind of looking of how we can better utilize this nonprofit. I know I suggested out there that once we got the nonprofit together, it was solidified. It was it was up and running, maybe we can offer some suggested items like maybe T-shirts or some memorabilia about the people's wave of love, and, different items like that we can generate some funds with to keep this going. And so, kind of look forward to that, in the future. Who knows? It might take a couple of weeks or however long, but we'll try to create something that would not only help you as individuals, but would also help us too, as far as donations and suggested items. Oh, the holy ones, they thank us all for being a part of this energy field that they called forward. They spoke way back in December and spoke about the solstice ceremony and asked us to all come together for a 10-day event, with the solstice and the full moon energy. And so we fulfilled their suggestion or their guidance. And so the holy ones are really, really happy that we came together as humans to create this energy field for the planet, for the Mother Earth. I feel that the plants acknowledge our efforts, animals acknowledge our efforts, all the kingdoms, elemental kingdoms, fairy kingdoms, all the kingdoms, especially the water kingdoms and the water itself, is that we acknowledge how powerful water can really be using it through the crystalline grid. And so all the elements want to thank you for doing your part and taking care of them and honoring them and respecting them. And Goldie, it's kind of sad. It was the first time I actually seen tears come out of Goldie's eyes. This morning, and she said to me, the humans on this particular planet are in for a rude awakening soon. And she talked about the Mother Earth's joy. She connects with the Mother Earth way beyond what I can connect with. She says the Mother Earth is sad because the humans were sent to this earth to help her. The humans were sent to this planet to help her, to nurture her, to keep everything in balance and in harmony. And so Goldie shed a tear because we as humans have forgot that golden thread of life. And it's as though Goldie is trying to find the joy. But if the Mother Earth isn't joyful, then it ripples out to all of us. We need to find a way to make the Mother Earth joyful again. Those are my final words. So I asked the Mother Earth to come forward to instill in all of our ancestors, all of the human ancestors on this planet, the reality of who we are, what we are, and why we are as human beings. We call upon the Holy Ones to bless you, to bless your journey, bless your future, to bless your existence here on this planet, to encourage you to really understand that we need to make the Mother Earth joyful again. We need to make her strong again. When we do that for her, she automatically does that for us. So these are just words. You know, maybe they're going in one ear and out the other. I don't know what or how you acknowledge all of this stuff. But for me, working directly with the Holy Ones, and especially Goldie, seeing her tears, I just throw up my hands. All I can do is offer some words. That's all it is just words. And hopefully the energy of some of those words will penetrate deeper into our souls. It's almost though we have a hole in our soul, and that hole needs to be mended. So we ask a blessing for each one of you, for your journeys, for your families, for your homes, for your lands, your environment, and a beautiful blessing all around. I hope. Okay, Rosa, we can shut them down.
All right. Thank you so much, Marshall. Thank you, Goldie, for your tears and your insight. And I encourage you just to keep making your own offerings. Remember that your connection with the earth is healing. It's healing not just for yourself, but for everybody. Please, let's all do our part to make our mother, to make Mama happy, to make this beautiful planet a happier place for everyone and for those that are coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Linda and John, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Will be our last Facebook Live with Marshall. I really encourage you to tune in. I know it'll be powerful, and there'll be more time for you to ask questions and get clarity about moving forward. So thank you so much, and bye for now.